Venkatesh, with me are Reema Tendulkar and Anuj Singhal. Anuj Singhal back after an unfortunate illness, and Reema, of course, will be sitting in for Sonia Shenoy for some time now. Sonia on her annual break. Well, it's a great team, all refreshed, and I think the markets are also refreshed. Last week when you were away, Anuj, India put up not just a 3% gain in stocks per se, but it was a 16% outperformance vis-a-vis China, which ended the week with 13% in terms of losses. So at least a good morning's start.
Yes, indeed. It seems to be raining gains, not just, outside, but even for our own markets. But, domestic factors, Lata, have been looking good. Monsoon started off to a great start. The MSP hike was modest. But globally, there is still that overhang of Greece. Today, of course, Asia is looking up in trade across the board. You've gains of nearly 0.5%, 1%. In hopes that perhaps Greece will be able to stitch a last-minute deal.
Yes, that's the news we have from about 3 hours back from the morning papers in Australia. The news wires haven't reported anything much now, but all that we know is that an 11th hour telephonic deal is likely to get stitched up, and the big promise that appears to have come from Tsipras, Alexis Tsipras, the Prime Minister of Greece, is that he's willing to discuss pension reforms. Now, until now, pension reforms were a no-no. Tsipras' position was that 2/3 of pensioners are already at or below the poverty line. Also, they will not brook any tax increases, especially VAT increases on electricity and medicines, which were the two items where VAT is not high or not applicable. So he wasn't even willing to discuss that, but in the last conversation, the 11th hour conversation as we called it, he has indicated that they are willing to discuss elimination of early retirement allowances. Like in many state-owned banks, it appears that Greece also gives you a VRS, a voluntary retirement scheme, but if that is eliminated, then at least the pressure on the exchequer reduces. One doesn't know whether it will amount to a 1% cut in the total pension bill. The pension bill in Greece amounts to 16% of GDP. Whether it will be brought down to 15%, we don't know, but at least the willingness to discuss some part of the pension scheme is seen as a source of hope. Perhaps this has come after the Greek Central Bank's chairman mentioned on Saturday in an interview that it would be insane not to get to a deal. And when the central banker speaks, then politicians will not take it lightly. Already about over 4 billion euros were withdrawn by Greeks themselves last week. And over the weekend, another 1 billion euros of orders are in the system. So clearly that is what has, triggered that, you can say willingness to discuss what was taboo until now, because then there is a collapse in the economy. And Greece will collapse before the other European countries get stressed out. So perhaps that's what is going to lead to some negotiation. At the moment, at least, there is a lot of green in the Asian skies.
Yes, indeed. Talks have been deadlocked for nearly, 5 months between the European creditors as well as Greece, and we'll keep our eye out on the Brussels summit as well to see any development. But by the way, some news in Wockhardt, where they've got a US FDA nod for an analgesic drug, oxycodone hydrochloride. No more details, but generally US FDA nods portend, good gains for the stock as well as a great opportunity for companies as well. But we do not have too much detail. It's an analgesic drug, and the company has got a US FDA nod. So we'll try and get you more details on that. But Lata, coming back to our own markets, between earnings season, you generally have very few triggers. So the only one we were watching, in the month of June as well as early July has been monsoon. Yep. And that, contrary to expectations, has started off very well.
Oh, it started out with a bang. And with each passing day, we are faced with a new number with respect to the excess in June. Midweek, Anuj, it was about 11%. Friday, it was getting to 13%. What we hear last, and this is not confirmed reports, we will confirm it with the Met in a bit, it is 16% excess rainfall in June itself. And it's also reached out to more states than was anticipated earlier. So all this is definitely going to be an extremely good news for a large section of the markets which was beaten down. The M&Ms, the Maricos, the entire rural facing, even the heroes, the Hero Motors and the TVSs, anybody with either a rural demand issue or a rural raw material source issue, and Marico wins on both sides. So, those were the stocks that were up and about on Friday, and we could see more of that inflation. So again, that opens up possibility. But the banks did not move at all on Friday. They moved late in the evening for an entirely engineered, finance ministry engineered rally. The indication that FIS can buy more bonds. It's not done deal, but it is a huge amount of money. It's like 37,000 crore worth of government bonds. The bond prices went through the roof, 1 rupee higher on Friday, and the rupee as well touched a June 1st high, and that meant more relief for the bank stocks. So that's why you saw Bank Nifty. In the end, everybody was firing up. The rural stocks were firing up, the bank stocks were firing up. Anybody related to rural demand was doing well. And what is most important, FI stopped selling. What was the FI number? It was 100 crore or something, the lowest number in June. And why would they sell when you know that you're going to get a whole lot of dollars coming in? That's going to mean a cheaper dollar. That's hardly the time that they will take out dollars. And I think that would have been definitely one factor which stopped FI selling, if not also the rains. Well,
okay.
Maybe I think Anuj will be better placed to say that. Anuj, what's your sense of FII and technical activity?
Yeah, I think this monsoon issue clearly is the one that dominated sentiment last week as well. There were some jokes in daily rooms as well that the Met Department officials who predicted below normal rainfall, but were not able to make it to office because of the kind of rains that we had. But anyway, I think expiry weeks are about momentum. We must not forget that today we start an expiry week, and as of now 8,000 is the base. Now the jury is out on who has the momentum right now. If you were to just look at the last 3 or 4 days, you would have to say that the bulls have the momentum. The Nifty has added good 250, 300 points from the lows, but we have seen that in the past. If you were to extend the timeline a bit, then the bears still have a bit of an edge over the bulls. This whole India versus...
Really?
I think so. I mean, because if you see the last expiry was also at 83.10. So even if the market were to expire here, the series would actually be negative. So 8,300 becomes the next important level for me to watch out for. For me, the big question is this a circus rally? And I think apart from monsoon, the fact that China has again started to underperform, that is also important. But I would still wait for some more evidence, because last time I said something like that, the complete reverse has happened. You've seen again a big Chinese outperformance. So maybe it's too early to say that, the China-India trade has reversed. That you'll have to wait for some more evidence. I think what really helped India's cause was that this sub 7,700 trade had become consensus. Everyone on the channel was talking about 7,700, 7,500, even 7,300, and markets normally don't like that, any kind of consensus, and that's why you had this big bounce. For me, this really the big question is, was this a normal circus rally in a slightly medium term or near term bear market, or have the markets turned corner and are getting back to the bull market zone? The only fear I have is that bull market corrections normally don't end like this. You normally see a bit of complete, fatigue, panic factor. That really didn't happen when the markets bottomed out. So that's something that tells me that maybe one more downtick, sub 8,000, maybe even 7,800 is still open. Not in this series. This series clearly the 8,000 is the base now, and the 8,100 maybe could be the worst case scenario. But in the next series, this FI data, also keep in mind that a lot of reverse arbitrage is also taking place. So if you see the stock futures data, there's quite a bit of buying in stock futures, about 900 crores of stock futures buying. 8320 is the next important support, next important resistance for the market, because that would turn the market series to positive for the series. So that is something that I'll be watching out for. 8320. So that's about 100 points from here. So that represents the next tough mark to watch out for the Nifty. But this is going to be volatile. This market in expiry week is really going to be volatile, because the series have been volatile. It started with a big downward tick, had a sharp recovery, and now the market is in the business zone. If you see the chart of the Nifty, if the Nifty is not able to take out 8,300, the possibility of maybe one more down tick towards 8,100 is still open. But if 8,320 is taken out, then I think I won't rule out an expiry even close to 8,400. So really, the two markers for me for expiry would be 8,400 on the way up, 8,100 on the way down. In that, today would be crucial. And really, over the next few days, we'll talk a lot about monsoon. That really is going to be the single most important near-term cue for the market.
Absolutely. Anuj, just follow-up question. I think I'm not allowing Reema to ask her question. Lately it is the DIs who have been calling the tune. On certain days, their buying has been double that of FII selling. But nevertheless, the fact that FII selling dropped to a monthly low, is that important?
That is important. Actually, the bulls would have been happy to see more of FIs selling, because in the if you go back and track some of these events, if you keep seeing DI buying heavier than the FIs selling, that makes market quite healthy in the medium term. FIs have a tendency to buy at the bit of a near-term top. So, if you actually see a FI buy number, maybe even today, then the bulls would start to get a bit worried that is the market reaching.
You clearly don't have a very flattering view of FIs.
No, the anecdotal evidence would tell you FIs are near-term market makers, but they normally don't have the medium-term or long-term timing of the market as right as, say, the DIs have or say an LIC has. That's something clearly which stands out. So over the last few days, you've seen a lot of DI buying, and they were buyers from 8,400 right up to 7,800, and they would be sitting tight now and they would be happy now.
Well, while the question remains, is this a sucker's rally? We do start the week with some good and positive momentum. Last week's gains of 3.5% were one of the best weekly gains that we've seen since the start of the year, and we were up for 6 consecutive sessions. But in the US market, we closed with cuts of nearly 0.5%. So we'll come to that in just a bit. Here's what you'll get to see in the show this